Good. Nice. Jammin'? Good, nice jammin'. It's Sonic Weekly, the show about Sonic the Hedgehog and associated interests. It appears every 7 days or so in your content delivery system of choice. However you are listening to us, we appreciate you. Hello, welcome back to the show. My name is Brant. With me is Bo. Hi, Bo.
Speed me up. I think you were looking for good, great, awesome, outstanding, amazing from Sonic Colors.
From Sonic Colors. In Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, it is good, nice, jammin'. They've truncated it. And tell me if that's true, star of the show, out of the shadows into the spotlight, David the Lurker. Hello, David.
Whoa, hi Grant, hi Bo. I believe that is true. Yeah, it is shorter. It's more to the point. I guess they don't have enough time because you're in a car and you got to go fast and you're never in the air that long.
And it barely sounds like nice. He's just like it's just like sort of just nonsense, just a garble. If you're going fast enough, that is. Returning to the show, two friends of the show. Returning from last week, we have Brandon HAIN. Hi, Brandon.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, I think they should have built on further from that. If they're going to go jamming, then it should be juice and jam time on top of that. That's my personal opinion.
That's a good point. If he's saying jammin', why not juice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on this also from Team Sonic Weekly returning to the show. He's always providing the gameplay capture if you're watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube. Jack of Old Games. Hi, Jack. Hello. Welcome back, Jack.
Hey, I would be of the opinion here that this is just the Doppler effect in action.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
It's imagine a car drives by you really fast and someone is yelling jammin' at you.
Yeah.
While it drives by. Yeah, you're not going to understand that.
Right.
Jammin'. Yeah.
Jammin'.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, oh, he's told me to go to the gym. That's rude. I guess maybe I'm on my way to the gym.
New Year's resolutions.
Right.
Yeah.
Is Sad AM Sonic the one who says jelly and jam time? Sal?
Juice and jam time.
Juice and jam time?
Juice
He
and
says
jam.
that
He surely
in
says jelly a
Adventures.
couple times, right? Yeah. It's a Jaleel White catchphrase. I'm sure.
Right.
Yes, he also
Yeah.
says, let's slide Clyde.
Yep.
Let's
Yeah.
do it to it.
Mhm.
Got a speed keyed.
keyed.
Yeah.
Up, over, and gone.
As part of my prep work for this episode, to get myself in the right mood, I went and watched an episode of Sonic Underground 20 minutes ago, which is a choice.
Yeah. And were any weapons pointed at you, or why did you make that choice?
Sometimes you do it for the love of the game,
Wow. That's commendable.
but I think it was Let's Do It to It in that episode.
Okay.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
song was it in that episode?
This one featured the something dance. It was
Oh, yeah.
dig out those MC Hammer pants. It's time to do the cosmic dance.
The
Yeah, the
oh,
Cosmic
wow.
Dance.
Cosmic Dance. I vaguely remember this.
It sounds dangerous. I know how to do
Yeah.
the neutron dance, you know.
Do you?
Mhm.
Well, that's a lie. I owned the vinyl of the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah. That's cool. Love the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah, and they're doing the neutron dance. But other than that, I guess, I don't know. How does one do it? It doesn't matter. Hey, I'll say this because why not? You brought up Sonic Underground, the voice of Robotnik in that show, Gary Chalk, who is also the voice of Grounder in AOSTH. Recently, he posted on Facebook today or yesterday that, hey, he is cancer-free. He was diagnosed with cancer last year. And he said, it's all in remission. I'm getting back to work. I'm feeling great. And so we also will say, hey, we're looking forward to seeing the other general once again on our television screens. Maybe he'll come back for Sonic Movie 4. Why not?
Gosh. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's great news.
If they were to put an Adventures of character in one of the movies, who would it be? Would it be Grounder? Would it be Scratch?
Coconuts as an outside,
Coconuts is a good,
outside
strong-
choice.
Mama
Strong
Robotnik.
possibility.
Mama Robotnik.
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
answer, actually.
We'll find out where she
Mama
went.
Robotnik is probably the answer. What's the name of the slimy salesman?
Wes Weasley.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see all of those. But I also, do you remember there was an episode where I think they revealed that like back when Robotnik was getting his doctorate, there was like a woman that he was pursuing, and then she married another man, and then he goes to break up the marriage or something.
Well, you're talking about the episode Best Hedgehog, where he's in high school, and both him and a man named Lucas have a crush on a woman named Lucinda. And what happens? Well, Lucinda spurs Robotnik and is like, "Oh, Lucas, I like you more." And so he puts him in a dungeon for 30 years, where he then turns into Mr. It, basically, from the Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, they clean him up, and he looks exactly the same as he did 30 years ago. So
And David did that with no prep.
I know. Yeah.
That was insane.
I cannot emphasize enough. Yeah, there is no edit here.
that is one of the episodes that was released on VHS back in the day.
Yes, I had it on VHS.
And it's also the episode where Tails says, "You look hot, Lucas," which you could apply to many things, I guess. If you're a fan of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had the VHS about Tails' parents, which I don't that turned out to be robots, but I only remember that episode specifically for the scene where Tails turns around by going inside of his own body and out with a disgusting sound effect.
Oh, God. He went in his own butthole, I guess.
Sometimes that show is amazing. And that's another episode that is like very sort of seared into my mind because it's got the like kind of tearjerker scene of baby Tails meeting Sonic and Sonic reluctantly kind of adopting him on the spot, or Tails sort of like pushing the issue.
Right. He is an orphan.
Yeah, they're orphans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is modern Sonic an orphan? Is modern Tails an orphan?
I bet modern Sonic has told someone he's an orphan, but he isn't really.
That's a big lie, David.
Yeah, Sonic lies. Why wouldn't he? He's like, yeah, I don't know who my parents are. And then his phone starts ringing and it's a picture of both of his parents. And he's like, ah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have we ever in any media seen a family member other than Uncle Chuck?
Well, the mother in Sonic Underground. Queen
Alina.
Queen Alina, yes.
Yeah. Literally featured heavily in the episode I just watched.
Of course, he has parents in Archie.
Yes,
right.
Jules and Bernie.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, we get to see everyone's parents. I mean, Tails' parents are also in Archie.
Knuckles, of course.
Right, all of his family for the last 1,000 years.
I feel like this is a egg I don't want to crack.
Yeah, my Archie knowledge ends in the late 90s, and then you can tell me anything and I'll believe it. But yeah, by then they were already doing the parents.
Just quickly while we're here, before we move away from it, Jack, do you remember what your first Archie issue was?
My first Archie issue is whatever you guys send me. I have literally never read a single issue of Sonic Comics.
Whoa.
Wow. What should his first Archie issue be? We can return to that question at the end of the episode.
Sure.
Right.
I need no prep.
Right.
I'm ready.
Oh, you are? My initial thought, I just picked a number. I don't even quite remember what happens in the issue. I was just like 67. And then I realized, oh God, that's a meme. And so
David, it's time to turn to the news. Speaking of what's happening. Oh yeah. This is happening.
Let's look at the funk.
That's right. It's always happening over at sonicstadium.org. Our friend who doesn't know we exist. Those are my favorite kinds of friends, right? Checking out the headlines, the top news stories involving Sonic T. Hedgehog. Speaking of comics, it's the perfect segue. We have not one, but two separate Sonic the Hedgehog miniseries that have been announced. It's a double dose of Sonic on the printed page. Maybe, Jack, one of these will be your first Sonic the Hedgehog comics. The first one, which was announced at the end of last week, hey, remember DC Comics? I occasionally remember them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Those were a big deal.
Yeah, and then and Sonic teamed up. Sonic met the Flash, and they did a lot of running, and everyone went, wow, that's cool. And there were 5 issues, and then it ended, and people went, huh?
Yeah, and then every Target in the United States and Canada and beyond, perhaps, anywhere a Target exists, there is now a dedicated section of the Sonic X DC crossover toys, including a Batmobile that is sort of vaguely Shadow the Hedgehog themed. and includes a Shadow as Batman figurine.
Yeah.
Well, now they're expanding.
Yes, that's right. We knew already there were leaks. In fact, I forget even if some of those new toys came out, but we're getting another mini-series. Whoa, it's called DC X Sonic Metal Legion. Another 5-issue mini-series coming from DC and Sega.
Is IDW involved or no, it's just DC?
I think it's just DC. Now, right, because the first miniseries was released, it had nothing to do with IDW. However, in the preview pages they released, there are characters from IDW that are in the book. We see, spoilers, a single panel of Rough and Tumble and, what's his name? Clutch?
The possum?
Yes, Clutch the Opossum. It looks like they're meeting up with Bruno Mannheim for some reason. Ooh, mysterious. And we see Big the Cat, and he fished Aquaman out of the water. That's fun.
That is fun.
But I don't think it says anything about IDW.
And Rouge the Bat is Catwoman.
Yes. She's dressed as Catwoman. We see Cream and Cheese. Cream is dressed as Supergirl, and I guess Cheese must be Crypto, T Superdog.
Yeah, we got Blaze as Starfire, which I'm pretty excited about.
Oh, yes, that's the other one. I was like, what was the one? And we do see Eggman wearing the Lex Luthor battle armor. I got a few different covers. I mean, not much more than that. Oh, I guess there must have been a release date, right?
May.
That's right.
Yep.
Release in May. So no specific date yet, but May is a month. And,
yes.
Another 5 issues. I had fun with the last one.
Yeah.
Is it the same creative team? Is it Ian Flynn?
Yes.
Writing
Yep.
these? Yeah.
Yes. It's the same team. They just keep on going. Why not?
And another crossover
Yes.
was announced.
Right. So after that, hot off the presses, it was like, oh, yeah, here you go. More Sonic comics. But guess what? This time, now this one does have involvement from IDW. This is Sonic X, another X, Sonic X Godzilla. Whoa. Sonic gets top billing in this crossover, I guess. Everyone's favorite Japanese monster is going to meet Sonic the Hedgehog, and I guess they're going to get rude at each other. IDW, they've had the Godzilla license for a while. What do we got here? It's a crossover. It's being written by Nick Marino, who I guess has written previous Godzilla comic books, Godzilla Rivals, Godzilla Monster Island Summer Camp. That sounds fun. I want to go to that.
Now, are you excited about this, David? We established in a previous episode that you know a bit about Godzilla. What's your hype level for this?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm interested, but it's not like I'm losing my.
No. This is one of the things where we brought it up, and you bring in 3 of the children's TV series and the 4th movie and how they tie together. Like, don't undersell it. You're 99th percentile Godzilla fan.
I know
Which
a couple
version of Godzilla do you want to see in this? Do you want to see like the original Toho version? Do you want to see the new Godzilla -1? Do you want to see the animated TV show version? Do you want to see the really cursed American version?
Oh man, well, it could be the cursed American version animated series sequel, because that Godzilla is still alive. I guess I don't think they killed him off at the end of that show, or you could just have him team up with Godzuki from the original cartoon. That's what I want to see. I mean, when it comes to like crossing over and one franchise meeting another, I really do like the iconic versions of characters meeting. So to me, like if it's a Godzilla that embodies the original Toho version, even if it's not like the original canon that goes through the 70s, it doesn't have to be any specific Godzilla universe, as long as Godzilla looks like Godzilla and he's got the atomic breath and I guess is going to destroy some stuff.
Station Square.
Yes.
They mention. And you might wonder, is this a city that's just always being destroyed by Godzilla-esque or Godzilla monsters? And will we see humans? To me, always a question, because it makes me wonder if it's been easier to have humans in the Chaotix Casefiles because there's not, although it's only been characters that have been designed and established.
Yeah.
Abraham Tower, Professor Tori.
Kitsch is presumably human.
Kitsch
I thought was human, but if it turns out Kitsch is, a koala, then it'd be like, I guess.
It's one of those dual role things where I'm just like, I just hear Matthew Mercer. I just hear SVO.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to sort of answer your question, Grant, in the IGN article where they talk to Marino, he does say the main difference between writing Godzilla and writing Sonic X Godzilla, humans. Aside from Dr. Eggman, who, let's be real, is a very specific kind of human, Sonic X Godzilla is populated solely by talking animals, kaiju, and robots. So,
there you go.
Right.
So no humans.
No humans. But if you read his previous comic, it takes place in Pittsburgh. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if I've ever read a Godzilla comic. Wait, no, I have. Of course, one of the greatest comics ever written, when Godzilla crossed over with Charles Barkley.
Oh.
And they, have a basketball game together. It's a one-on-one.
Does Barkley grow or does Godzilla shrink?
Barkley grows.
That makes sense.
Right. I'm sure Toho was like, Godzilla will not shrink for Charles Barkley.
Did they at least say shut up and jam somewhere in it?
Not that I remember, but it has been a long time since I've read that book.
I think the main question is, did Godzilla dunk?
I believe there is a drawing of Godzilla dunking in that book.
Okay.
It was when comics could be whatever you wanted them to be.
Yeah.
There's just not enough of that anymore. But
Yeah.
maybe this is. I don't know. Maybe to me, the big question is, are we going to see chaos?
That would be cool. I would like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, as someone that
Like team
has seen all of the original franchise as well as the 80s and 90s stuff, there's a lot of potential for crazy things they could do here. And you guys were talking earlier about the idea of, like David said, are they going to have rude words with each other? It is canon in some of the original Godzilla films that they do speak to each other and have a tiny women that translate for them. So it is possible. And I would like to see at least one scene of Dr. Eggman and Tails debating the morality of using nuclear weapons against the monsters.
Yeah, I would like that.
The covers also, they show off Mechagodzilla and Mothra, more than one of the variant covers.
Yeah.
So presumably they will be involved in the story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, there's a particularly interesting alternate cover with a Kiryu Mechagodzilla that Sonic's like running up a building as that particular version of Mechagodzilla is attacking him. And according to the artist who made that alternate cover, she said that was actually a request from her, that she likes that version of Mechagodzilla and she asked if she could use that one and they said yes. So does that mean that'll be in there or is that simply just an artistic license, but there will be some version of Mechagodzilla? That remains to be seen.
Right. Well, the two other covers also have Mechagodzilla, but not in that look.
Right. More the classic version.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? But yeah, this one is coming straight from IDW. I guess this is technically, right, the first Sonic crossover under the IDW banner since the DC crossovers at DC. And IDW, they love their crossovers. It's coming summer. That doesn't even have a month. It just says summer.
Speaking of IDW and crossovers, today was the day that Tangle and Whisper arrived as free DLC in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I had a chance to play as both. Let's see, Tangle is an acceleration character and Whisper is a boost character. They're both fun. They look great. They have fun animations and they feel right at home. They feel right at home, except for the major omission, which is, where are the voices? The voices we just heard, we were just praising, that debuted in the Chaotix Casefiles episode last week. Bo was predicting this would be an excellent, and it was an excellent opportunity for corporate synergy to show how it's all working and everybody's hitting on all cylinders. But no, there are no voices for Tangle nor Whisper. And it is weird. It's strange. It's one thing, I guess, when it's like SpongeBob, who doesn't have a voice. But to me, it's like if it was Smash Brothers and they only had Mario voices, that would be strange. That it would feel weird. But that doesn't happen. Everybody has their voices if they're included in the Smash Brothers roster. So here, not having the voices, especially for characters that are like the closest to being just the regular cast. And same with the Werehog. Just another strange example of, you can understand why, I guess, like you can make the excuse sort of for them that of why it's not there. Like, oh, well, they'd have to re-record it. Well, okay. Yeah, I think they could probably do that. They might be able to make that happen. They've proved that they can do that successfully in an ongoing basis the last month and a half with the Chaotix Casefiles.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they fix
studio.
it. It's bad. It's a stumble out of the blocks as an introduction for two really great characters. One of the big wins of IDW is Tangle and Whisper. And this is their, first debut in an official game, and they should have their voices. We just heard their voices. Their voices are great, amazing. Maybe it can't be in every language. Maybe that, but again, why not? Like the Smash Brothers thing. It's clearly possible. So Anyway, I played online and I played offline.
Is this the first example of characters crossing over into the big leagues? So I know you get
the comics,
adventures of characters in Spinball. Does that count?
I think no, because it's not a Sonic Team game. And this, or it's not like this is supposed to be canon, I guess, is the big
important
thing.
Game. Yeah.
Right. I guess it's canon, even though I guess there's a story, but there really isn't. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But
and it's not a Sonic Team game. Or is it?
Well, it's a Sega game, I guess. Like, it's from Sega of Japan. That's the big difference, right? Where Spinball, Mean Beam Machine... Well, Mean Beam Machine was like, oh, we got to turn a game and it can't be too Japanese. The kids won't understand it. They could have understood it. And yeah, Spinball's just made by all the Americans that weren't allowed to work on Sonic 3. So but they definitely look at Sonic differently now. We don't get Sonic games that are not meant to be canon anymore, right? We don't get a weird Sonic game that's in its own little hole or based on a show.
Sonic Prime Dash. Right, Jack?
Yeah, Sonic Prime Dash.
Oh, how could I forget about Sonic Prime Dash?
Yeah. Well, you did, but it's okay. I was here to catch you.
Right.
And that's how it works,
I wish I could forget my time working on that game.
Right. You coded the whole thing yourself, right?
Yep, start to finish. Just completely ignore the credits for that game. All of them are pseudonyms for me.
Did anybody get a chance to play them in the 3 hours they've been available before we recorded, the 2 hours available?
I have not, but I've been in a couple different Discord servers of Sonic fans that are all streaming those characters and are all basically immediately going to any mod sites they can find to find voice patches made by fans, which there are already a few.
Oh, wow.
But they're still having some issues getting them to work. So they're scrambling to try to get their updates in because it's like you said, Grant, a lot of Sonic fans are just going crazy. They're outraged because they literally just advertised these characters have voices and then they didn't give them voices.
Yeah. It undercuts what should be their grand debut. It just undercuts it. And that's a bummer. And there's not a great excuse for it. I don't know. Maybe there is one that
There's a great corporate excuse, but
there's a great corporate excuse. And if you want to go to bat for them, you can email us sonicweeklypodcast@gmail.com. We also receive the Sega newsletters there, so it'll work out either way. I did think that while I was playing it, I like this game. I was like, I know I'm going to complain about the voices, but I still like the game, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. It's a thumbs up. We've talked about it so much that it might seem like I hate this game, but I don't. I actually really, 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 really like it. And it's fun to play online, and it's cool in a lot of ways. I like it. It's not perfect. The items, it feels very random, and it's sort of sometimes too difficult at the highest speed, but you can always play as Supersonic and kind of cheat it. So it's fine. But I just wanted to say I like it despite the fact that I hate the omission of the voices, especially for Tangle and Whisper.
Yeah, I guess the last news story, unless we want to talk about Jet the Hawk riding into Sonic and Friends.
He's cute.
Yeah. Of course, once again, we got another episode of the Chaotix Casefiles, episode number 5. The case of the look, a helicopter. Vanilla's in it. That's what I'm saying.
Wait. If you look at the YouTube version of it, it says it's the case of the catastrophic Copter crash. Copter
Captor?
crash? Copter
Should
crash.
be copter.
Right.
But it says but it's misspelled. It's
It is
Coptor.
misspelled. It is
So I was like,
misspelled.
oh, is that supposed to be like a play on like captor? Like, because Vector and Sonic are captured? Or is it just misspelling copter, which would be Copter, which that's how they spell it in the rest of the description, but just not in the title. So tisk tisk. Nevertheless, wow, Vanilla the rabbit gets a voice.
Right. Well, it does say Copter in handwriting. So that to me says they misspelled it and didn't catch it.
Somebody fucked up big time on the YouTube description. Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody fucked up.
So you guys, you think Vanilla's the top billing here, but Gemerl?
Yeah.
Was Gemerl on your bingo card for this series?
Well, they're all a package deal. When cream and cheese get involved, then Vanilla's not far behind, and then of course Gemerl. And how to pronounce Gemerl, I guess. Like I've always thought it was just Gemerl, and that is how it was pronounced, I think. But I was reading on some Sonic boards, maybe it was Retro or wherever it was, that the people have had other pronunciations in their head for that character, and they were saddened, and just wanted to acknowledge those fools.
Right. I guess I should also point out that on YouTube, the comments for this episode have been disabled.
Is that true of all of them?
No. To my understanding, this is the first one it's been disabled for.
Oh,
The,
man.
Vanilla Vector stuff was too much for some people.
I think that's exactly what happened. They're like, uh-oh. Because Vector, I guess this is the first time where we have been led to believe that maybe Vector is embellishing or just straight up lying about something that would happen, because him and Vanilla get a little cozy in this episode, and both Sonic and Eggman immediately called him out on it.
Yeah, that was. I guess you could maybe read that a few different ways, right? Like, is Vector embellishing? Is it just a foreign concept to Sonic and Eggman? Are they just confessing to being incels in that moment?
Now, they say it doesn't sound like Vanilla. I think that's the...
Right.
But this is like Vanilla that would only be Vanilla with Vector.
Right. Since they are alone, and we've never seen them alone before. We've never heard them talk alone before. And so, I guess...
Yeah.
But then it could be interpreted, this is how Vector wishes it went, but he is just too nervous to say how he feels about her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering that the current franchise has kind of stepped away from the idea of any sort of romantic relationships of any kind, maybe that is why it's so foreign to Sonic and Eggman, because Vector is like overstepping his bounds of the mandates.
Oh,
This is the horniest the franchise has been in 10 years.
this whole show is the horniest it's been. Yeah, I mean, everything going on with Rouge and Espio, it's just like, she wants Espio to run away with her. And here, now Vector's like, yeah, Vanilla, look at her. She is, if you remember correctly, the size of a human mother.
That is
what a weirdly vague yet specific thing to say.
I've been waiting to play that all episode. I was like, at some point, this is going to get brought up. It's the size of a human mother, Belle. That's a true fact. Where does that fact originate from, David?
The top 10 hottest female Sonic characters.
Oh, no.
What?
Yeah, the top 10 hottest female Sonic characters.
What is that?
It's a top 10 list that some guy on YouTube made that became infamous, and he delisted it.
Oh.
And it ends with a Rick Astley song.
Oh. So it's not canon?
Well, I mean, I think it is canon that she's the size of a human mother because she is tall. But it does beg the question, like, is it unusual for other animal, furry, Mobian, whatever you want to call them, to be the size of an average human mother woman person? I mean, because like Sonic, he's a teenager, but he's still half the size of Eggman. Vector is tall, and I guess he's 18 or something, right? Like, he's an adult. But Rouge is 18, and she's not Vector height, she's Sonic height. And then it's like, you know, all the other, usually we see the other animal characters running around. There's no sense. Like, does that mean Cream, like rabbits, are just meant to get 6 feet tall, or is Vanilla unusual? in that way?
These are great questions. These are the questions that the Chaotix Casefiles mystery noir detective series is bringing to mind. It's conjuring these questions of, so I guess Vector is the size of a average human father.
Yeah. If he
stepfather.
I think he wants to be a stepfather. Maybe. Yeah. I guess he doesn't look at Gemerl. No, so Gemerl, is Gemerl like another kid? Or is that like a guardian?
Yeah, I think he's like a robot.
Right. Well, because I don't think Vanilla's parenting Gemerl.
Right.
But I also don't think she's certainly not romantically interested in him. That doesn't make sense.
No.
I don't know what I feel like I should stop.
What does that say about Gemerl or Vanilla?
Is this a rabbit hole you really want to go down?
Why did you have
That's
to say
Vector
rabbit
said.
hole? Oh no. Oh. Folks.
I did find it a little puzzling that Cream has gone on adventures with Sonic and battled Eggman's robots, but Vanilla says, hey, don't stray too far from the house when you're running around with Charmy. Come on, she can fend for herself.
Yeah.
All right. You know, the episode was fun. I guess not a whole lot happens aside from Vector.
They ask for water again, so that seems to be a crucial little point in the present tense of Vector and Sonic being in an underground cage.
Right. Do you think they're like going to hoard it and use it somehow to get free?
I don't know. They keep mentioning it.
I think the Chaotix is going to come and bust him out, and they're just going to, why didn't you bring us water? We're really, really thirsty in here.
We're a little bit.
At this point, you've established Vector as an unreliable narrator.
Yes. I mean, they literally say that too.
Every scene we have between him and Sonic is not actually real. Nothing about the way Eggman is acting makes sense for his character.
I was wondering if Vector was just spinning this whole yarn to buy time.
You're right.
Like it's all made up.
He's regaling this to like Shadow or something after the fact, and he is pretending that he and Sonic are in prison together when in fact he is just in prison, sad and alone, thinking how he wanted this to go. And Sonic will break him out in the last episode.
That would be a twist.
That would be a twist. You binged these episodes, right?
I sure did over the last 24 hours.
Oh.
I don't usually...
And you washed it down with a little Sonic Underground.
Yeah. So keep that in mind as to my mental state as we
big musical
discuss
finale
matters.
That's right.
Yeah. How are you liking it, Jack?
I think it's fine. You guys have mentioned sort of where's the Sonic detective?
Right.
Or Detective Sonic, rather, in all of this. And why isn't it that? And I'm sitting here, the only thing that goes through my mind is this is a big production. This costs them money. Surely they're not just doing this to have a tax write-off for Yakuza laundering or whatever. So what is this trying to sell me? And it has to be leading to something with the Chaotix characters, because why would you put so much effort into these guys otherwise? Why would you hire Rebecca Sugar? Why would you do thousands and thousands of dollars of voice recording and editing with all these guys? The show itself, it's fun. It's really tropey. It's really predictable, but it's fun.
Brandon, you have thoughts on that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, you talked about the idea of why isn't it more general? Why isn't it about Sonic the Hedgehog solving things and having it set in locations that are more familiar to a broader audience? And to me, it was just a case of like I had said on the Sonic Weekly Discord server that you can get a link to by emailing us. It is a case of that I just feel that this is on its own a niche project on some level. It's not going to do the same numbers as them posting a new music track, as doing one of their YouTube shorts and all the things that they do. It's a Sonic audio drama podcast, which is doing well. It just, to me, it makes sense to make it something a little more niche. But like we've kind of talked about in other episodes, the idea of that these characters just had their anniversary like the previous year, and this was probably something that got delayed to some level. I think that it is building to something, but I also do feel that it makes sense to put in all these supporting casts because, and like I said, we don't know yet what the plan is. We don't know yet exactly what this is all building to, giving all these characters that didn't have prior voices. And I think that's what's compelling is this kind of reward for the Sonic faithful. I just don't think Sonic as a detective really makes a lot of sense as a main character with how modern Sonic is. In Sonic Frontiers, he isn't putting together the pieces. There's no Phoenix Wright sequence of you understanding the evidence to understand what the ancients are up to. Sonic is having most of it explained to him as he's exploring and making his own way, while the Chaotix are actually investigating. And then it makes sense for these characters to do that. But I also understand what your point is, Grant, that yes, maybe if it was a little more focused around Sonic, that could have been a way to better grab an audience.
Right. And, to be fair, that's Jeffrey's sort of point on it, which is like, I think what that would say is like we've had Sonic and Knuckles and Tails and Eggman, but sort of intermittently and in small doses, whereas the focus has been on particularly obscure characters that you would need to not only read the IDW comics, but also be familiar with Tails Tube to know Professor Tori and the Chaotix and Tangle and Whisper.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be pretty well steeped in the lore. I mean, sure, like Sonic could have that trait. He doesn't now. 90s Sonic would, because he dressed up in a Bugs Bunny style all the time. And modern Sonic doesn't do that. He's more of like a, sort of a straight ahead, kind of straight laced hero at this point, and a wizened hero in Sonic Frontiers. Also, as it's been pointed out too, the Chaotix are the comedy characters. They're, Jack compared them to the Three Stooges. One of our EPs in the Discord was Cal was mentioning how they're the comedy characters. They're the characters that get to be funny, and they are funny. And this is the most I've liked them, which I've said repeatedly. Charmy, I love Charmy B now. SBO, I get it. I get the appeal. Vector, I'm rooting for the Chaotix for this to pay off. I think is like, maybe this is like them planting the seed that the Chaotix have the potential to one day be a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque part of a larger Sonic franchise. Whereas they can go off and have their own adventures that aren't directly connected to Sonic, Shadow, the headliners, because they're off in a separate franchise. So if you're going to spin off the franchise, is it Shadow? Maybe. Or maybe Shadow's too important to Sonic, whereas the Chaotix can go off and have adventures with Tangle and Whisper and Cream and Vanilla and Gemerl. So maybe that's it. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, but I do get your point now, Grant, that if it was Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, like just the main crew in this story, like what sense that would make for the modern audiences, especially now going into the fourth film. But that's what makes this so fascinating, that they went the other direction of making it all the strange other parts of the Sonic universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting, and we're way past due to check in with
Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn this week is covering Last Bronx for the Sega Saturn. 2 years ago, I noticed that there is a demo disc for the Saturn that has Last Bronx. It's just an auto demo. You can only watch two of the characters fight in one of the levels, and then it ends. But I wondered, is there more to this? There has to be more to this, because on the CD, there's files. There's everything in there, all the stage files, all of the character files. And I tried hours put into this. Can I hack my way into this demo disc? Because it's early. It's 6 weeks before the final Japanese release came out. Can I see the prototype version of Last Bronx? And I eventually gave up. I said, no, it's not possible. It can't be done. We don't have the science for this. 2 years go by, and I open it up again and sigh at it, and I notice something. I think, hey, wait a minute. What if I try this? And I crack the case. Chaotix Casefiles cracked on Last Bronx. We can now control this auto demo. We can play the whole thing. And, it's not terribly exciting. Some of the levels are missing. Some of the characters look a little weird. The main guy, his lips are gray instead of the normal color.
Oh, no.
Some of the stages are unfinished. There's no credits. But, to me, the process here was the triumph. It's sometimes you got to sit and think about something for 2 years before you arrive at the solution.
Yeah.
And it's another one of these demo discs that laziness on the part of the developers led to me having a fun time 25 plus years later.
The magic of video games. It really is time capsules traveling through space and time.
And I'm waiting on a Last Bronx IDW series. Like those are well-conceived characters. You got storylines. You got a weird bonus disc in the Japanese version with them cartoon versions of them.
Let's work on
Bring
our
back
pitch,
Les
Bo.
Bronx. Let's see a movie.
Yeah, I'll help you with the script. Let's get it done. Let's do it. Going to check in with Barry at Sega Bits to see what they're talking about on Sega Talk this week. Barry.
Hey, Sonic Weekly listeners.
There he is. It's Barry.
Hey, Sonic Weekly listeners. Barry from Sega Bits here to tell you what's going on at the Sega Talk podcast. On our latest public episode, we take a look back at the first 32 issues of IDW Sonic. How did Archie end? How did IDW begin? And what did we think of those first few arcs? And, exclusive to Patreon and releasing in 2 weeks, George shares his 5 must-play Sega Saturn imports. What did he pick? How much do they cost on eBay? Find out on the latest episode. Watch or listen today by visiting segabits.com or search Segabits on your podcatcher of choice. Now, back to the Sonic Weekly, guys.
That was Barry.
I can't believe it.
Thank you so much, Barry. And to follow up on last week, we had a contest. We had a trivia question in which the question was prompted, which Chaotix character would be most likely to have performed missionary work? That question was asked once. It is sourced from the Japanese Chaotix manual, correct, David?
Right, yes.
And I double-checked with Michael Stearns that it's a pretty direct translation, that Vector is headed to the Newjonic High Zone to prove the existence of God's miracles, right?
Yes, he is looking for the existence of God. He believes that a miracle has happened on this island. He needs to see it in person so that, I guess, his faith will be confirmed. Otherwise...
And I thought at first maybe he's looking at it from a skeptic point of view. Of like, well, maybe he's a detective from the beginning here. And I was misinterpreting it. But Michael was like, no, it's pretty straightforward that he's a believer and he's looking to, find proof of it. So anyway, we have a winner. Thank you to those who entered. Did a little raffle. So congratulations to William, who answered Vector the Crocodile is the correct answer, and suggested that it was because Sega was likely going for a Blues Brothers joke and it got lost in translation, which I guess what William means is like how the Blues Brothers are on a mission from God.
They're on a mission from God, yes. Because there is some line art that we see in a video, I believe it's the Sonic 3 pre-order VHS tape, where you see Vector and he's wearing the Blues Brother outfit. He's got the shades and the jacket.
Oh, I was so confused by that email.
Yes, and so Ian Flynn, when asked, like, oh, is this still canon? He was like, I don't think so. It was just like a Blues Brothers joke, right? I mean, look at it. And that's the first time I had heard anyone say that's meant to be the Blues Brothers, and that's why Vector's inspired. I still, in my heart of hearts, believe it's canon because, hey, it's in the manual, and he's not dressed like a Blues Brother, is he? But if he was, man, Vector could have been in Blues Brothers 2000. That could have been the first Sonic movie. And that could have gone a lot better.
Oh.
Or maybe it would have been worse.
Did we talk about the Blues Brothers 2000 video game?
I don't think so. I'm somewhat familiar with it.
It came out in 2000 for the Nintendo 64. That movie came out in 1998. And I think the game was supposed to come out along with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a little tardy on that. But they got it out before 2001 at least.
Yeah, that game exists, Jack.
That's my line. Hey, that game exists.
That's what this episode's footage should be.
Speaking of games that exist, the oft-promised, the long-delayed Sonic Megamix Mania. Jack has played it. Brandon has played it. I have watched and proven to myself that both of you have played it. And I don't know if Bo has played it. I don't know if David has played it.
I played most of it.
Okay.
No, I'm going to be the audience surrogate here. What is Sonic Megamix? I know Fighters Megamix.
Ooh.
Megamix Mania.
I know Sonic.
Brandon, would you like to answer that?
So, Sonic Megamix was a Sonic 1 ROM hack that was led by Team Megamix, who was led by Stealth, who went on to do work on Sonic Mania and Sonic Origins. And this is a remake of Sonic Megamix put into Mania's engine, which has 2 modes. It has a Megamix mode and it has a classic mode. The classic mode has all of the original level layouts of the original Megamix made in this new Mania engine, and Megamix mode is a complete reimagining of all the zones from the original Megamix with new level design, as well as completely overhauled graphics and an original soundtrack instead of reused songs that were in the original Megamix. Each character has not just movesets, they also have their own musical themes, so that if you pick up speed shoes or if you pick up invincibility, they all have their themes that are taken from their different games. There's a lot of love put into the presentation for this mod.
Yeah, I can't say anything bad about the presentation, and that's more or less where I think the good things I have to say about this game.
Uh-oh.
Before we get to your hot takes and the thoughts on the game, just to because I'm also like I haven't played it yet. I will maybe at some point. But who are all the playable characters? And I noticed that Sonic's moveset is pretty different than Sonic Mania. This is built off of Sonic Mania.
Yes.
Plus.
Yeah, that's
right?
correct. So Sonic has both his homing attack and his lightspeed dash from the Adventure games, which was also in the original Megamix. Everybody has most of what they already had in the original Megamix. Like Shadow is in the game, and he has a double jump, and he also has like a homing attack type move. Tails pretty much plays like Tails. Knuckles now has a glide cancel that he can do in the middle of a glide. And Mighty is here, and Mighty is the only one that really has the shield moves. He can do all the different moves you can usually do with the elemental shields. Sonic doesn't, because that is replaced with him doing his homing attack.
So it's Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Mighty, and Shadow as the playable characters?
That is correct.
No Amy, no Ray.
Now, Amy is, but it's a mod that comes along with Megamix Mania. And when I used it, I've not played Amy since they patched it. I played Amy before they released the recent 1.1 patch. And when you're playing as Amy, for me, she was over top of Mighty's file. And when I selected her, she was painted like almost like a brownish color, probably due to some error of putting her over top of Mighty. But she essentially kind of played like her, from what I remember, kind of like her Origins variant.
Okay.
Now, I remember when I was installing this, I got a bunch of warnings about like, hey, Amy might be really broken. So that might be what you ran into.
Yeah, most likely.
How many zones? How long would it take for a playthrough from the first zone to the last?
So let's see here. We got Sunny Shores, Dark Fortress, City Outskirts, Misty Maze, Starry Night, and then finally Metallic Base. Essentially what they're doing here is that they're taking the original zones from Megamix, which were ultimately all the zones in the original Megamix were recolored palettes of old Sonic 1 stages because it was a Sonic 1 ROM hack. They're trying to make them into their own original stages, though ultimately level design-wise, they're taking most of the gimmicks and the boss fights and everything from Mania, but remixing them. It took me only within like 50 minutes to an hour to finish the entire campaign. However, let's just say there were a lot of deaths, particularly in the later half and during the final boss fight, during just some of the ways that they've remixed things.
Okay, so now the question is, what did you think while playing it? Did you sort of not, how would you rate it, but like, how would you rate it?
So Megamix Mania is interesting, and I feel like it's always, when you're approaching a Sonic fan project, you know, there's so many problems with this community where they compare these fan games to the official products, where they try to say like, oh, this is better than that, or this how this compares to this. When ultimately these are lovingly crafted things that these people took time out of their busy schedules to put into a game with no money incentive because they can't legally. They're doing this because they are fans. So I always go into that with some leeway as somebody that has done a lot of creative projects that knows the blood, sweat, and tears it takes. But it's also a thing where I also have to understand it from the perspective of I'm somebody that plays video games to have fun, and I need to grade it based on how much fun I'm having with it. And so on those metrics, there are things that I like about Megamix Mania, but ultimately the level design reminds me a bit of like a mix of almost like Superstars with Sonic CD, where it's very messy. There's a lot of things kind of dotted everywhere. You constantly feel like you're going left and right and up and down in a way that doesn't feel cohesive. You're bashing into spikes and obstacles constantly. And as Grant noticed when Grant watched me stream some of this, these special stage rings are always placed in places where by the time you see where one of the rings are, you've already passed the point where you've missed it. And it's intentionally put there in a way to be like, hey, look, there it is. I guess you'll have to replay the level at some point to go get that special ring. And I've never liked that type of design because it always feels a little spiteful. And even when you get to those rings, they're all entirely remixed Sonic Mania special stages with a new level design that is much harder than any of the ones in the original Mania. I've only been able to get 4 Chaos Emeralds, though I have beaten the full story itself. And those Emerald stages are very difficult. You fall off extremely easily because there is now almost nothing keeping you bouncing within the limits of these sides. So yes, I've beaten it with Sonic and I've beaten it with Shadow. The boss fights are, like I've said, they're all remixes of Mania bosses. The first zone boss is the kind of spinning boss from the first act of Sonic Mania that, it spins itself around, it breaks apart and bounces around the room. But now it's up on top of the stage and you have to bounce on some mushrooms to get up to it, which to me just felt kind of like busy work because the mushrooms take so long to bounce you up there. They really try to do that balance of trying to make it feel like a new game while also trying to make it harder than a traditional like Mania or a traditional Sonic game because you're a Sonic fan and they're Sonic fans designing it for themselves. But to me, it just made the game frustrating and not like how I enjoy the classic Sonic games because they're trying to make it more difficult when you can't see where you're going.
This was something that I was wondering as I was playing it was like, I'm not a pro gamer by any stretch of the imagination. Am I just bad at this or is this Sonic designed for hard mode? And I think at the end of the day, I landed on it's hard mode for the bosses, but the level design is just not good. I felt like I was being funneled into platforming that didn't make sense. I was being intentionally placed into situations where I had to start doing pixel memorization. And as fun as that was in 1989, this is based off of a game from 2017. As much as I come to play Sonic as this is my 7 out of 10 comfort food, this should be the baseline of good gaming, I have to at least keep a somewhat modern standard with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To compare it to other Sonic fan games, Triple Trouble 16-bit comes to mind. Have you guys played that one? How would you compare it? They're both sort of playing off of Mania a little bit, not really with Triple Trouble.
No, Triple Trouble 16-bit was built from the ground up by Noah Copeland on its own engine. It contains no reused gimmicks from other prior Sonic games. It is trying to be an entirely new game using the level design and gimmicks from the original Triple Trouble, but expanding upon it, and in many ways, messing with your expectations as to things you remember from the original game. And I feel unfair comparing it to Sonic Megamix Mania, because Sonic Megamix Mania is very much trying to be a remake of a game that was already a Sonic 1 ROM hack that was reusing bosses and reusing gimmicks and reusing enemies from Sonic 1. This is reusing enemies from Sonic Mania. Triple Trouble 16-bit is like a ridiculous game. It is just so packed with content. It not only has a full Sonic and Tails and a full Knuckles campaign with their own stories, it has a supersonic final boss fight. It has a competition mode with multiplayer modes, and those multiplayer modes come with their own storyline. Later, he added characters you can play in its free play mode, including Knack the Weasel and Metal Sonic and Amy. So I don't feel comfortable comparing it that way. Triple Trouble 16-bit is the cream of the crop.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that clarification and distinction because, fan games are a little bit of a blind spot for me. Like, it just hasn't been how I've experienced Sonic too much. I've dabbled here and there. I've talked about RoboBlast 2 before, but Triple Trouble 16-bit only played a little bit. Megamix Mania, not yet. So,
right.
Okay, but both of you guys are sounding pretty mixed to below average on Megamix Mania. But maybe that's not sort of fair because, thinking about it in the context that you were just saying, Brandon, it's like, it's more of like an
homage of an homage. I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Which, I guess that makes sense to me. I mean, I will say I did play through most of Sonic. I got stuck at near the end with the spoilers Wall of Fire. And I was like, oh, which, as far as I know, that's not in the original Megamix, right? That is an homage to a different Sonic ROM hack.
Indeed.
There was a ROM hack called Sonic Boom, and it is basically, it's one level, I think 3 or 4 acts, I forget exactly. And the whole idea of that was, this is Sonic super hard. And that's what it is. And so it really threw me off at the end of Megamix, because I remember when the original Megamix was being developed, and it was like, in a world where there were a lot of ROM hacks that were occurring, a lot of them would only get to like the first stage. They do the first stage, and after that everything would fall apart, because it's a very specific, very niche thing to do in the first place. And Megamix was the first game that actually got to an end point, a finish point. Maybe not the first, but it is one of the first, and because it had stealth behind it, it was definitely the biggest one at the time. And Megamix Mania does feel like Megamix, but even back then, the level design of Megamix, like version 2.0, 3.0, the level designs always confused me and seemed harder than they should have been. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that I stumbled into some of that in Megamix Mania made sense to me. And so it felt like a true homage to a ROM hack from back in the day, but there were still moments where it was very frustrating. I would say like some of the middle stuff I had more fun with than the beginning or the end, and I don't know why that is specifically.
I mean, I liked a lot of these city-based levels you had there in the middle, aesthetic-wise. There's a lot, like the original soundtrack for Megamix Mania is quite solid, pretty much all throughout. And that Wall of Fire you're talking about, David, so that is the first part of a 3-part final boss that you do in one go. So that Wall of Fire is essentially the Sonic CD Metal Sonic race, but turned up difficulty-wise to 11. You get past that, then you immediately go into Final Zone from Sonic 1, but the Mania version, which has that second phase where the pistons come down faster. But now Metal Sonic is flying back and forth across it while you're trying to also hit Eggman as you're getting crushed. Then, after you beat all of that, without any like act transition or anything, you go to another race, but now it's Robotnik on a little bike, like motorbike that you're racing against. And then you get past that, then the game ends.
Oh, good.
It's a lot.
Seems like a lot.
It's a bit
Is
too
the ending
much.
worth it? Is it their cool ending?
So, at first, the second you escape and beat Dr. Eggman, it just hits the credits instantaneously. However, once you watch through the credits, there is a cute little ending image of the entire playable cast of Megamix Mania sitting at the bar in Mirage Saloon, holding the Chaos Emeralds and kind of like, dancing or doing something. And then it's like somebody takes a picture of them and they all sort of flinch from the picture. And it's just them freeze framed, like dropping their Chaos Emeralds. It's cute.
Cute. Thank you for the...
Right. So the same thing from... Because that's in Mania as well.
Yeah, it's in Mania. Yeah.
Okay.
But now expanded with Shadow and...
Right. That's true.
Without Mighty.
Right.
Or, sorry, without Ray, I mean.
Right. So Mighty and Ray...
Mighty's there.
Mighty is in it. But Ray shows up in the beginning cutscene, right? Like he's flying the plane.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh,
right.
That's funny.
So it's like, oh, Ray's there, but he's got nothing to do with this.
Any final thoughts on it, or if you want to? I feel like you guys have both been summarizing your thoughts quite well. But are there any parting shots on where you want to rate it or praise it?
Right. Who do you want to call out? Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go first, Jack.
I mean, at the end of the day, I do have to appreciate that this is, as was mentioned, a fan game made by people on their spare time. And for that, it is a strong effort. But I would still rather play pretty much any official Sonic game over this. I would play 06 over this. I might play Sonic Blast over this.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know about that one. Let's give it a solid 5.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't feel as negative about it to the point where even like the worst of the series. No, I would still give Megamix Mania another shot over playing through Rise of Lyric again, which I've mentioned I've done, or I have beaten also Sonic Chronicles, The Dark Brotherhood. I would probably still play Megamix Mania again, as much as I liked the dialogue in that game. And David, summed it up rather well. But talking about the history of this game, that ultimately, yes, it was impressive for the original was impressive for what it was at the time of building on top of the original framework, which is what this is also trying to do. And it's, by all metrics, it sounds like it's a fairly faithful translation and readaptation of what that original game was. It's funny by almost being what it is. It's just the level design is as confusing and kind of unpleasant as the original was. But if you liked Sonic Megamix, it sounds like Megamix Mania is kind of built for you. It's just personally, as a fan of Triple Trouble 16-bit, which very much tried to take a lot of the gameplay level design philosophy from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that's much more my speed than Megamix Mania.
That makes sense to me.
Me too.
I would add in, like, I think if you have Mania on the PC, if you can mod it, at least give it a shot. I mean, it's worth experiencing. Like you said, the music is good. Visually, it's good.
Yes.
It is that level design that can sometimes be take it or leave it. And like you said, like it is sort of hard mode Sonic. It was because stealth, Sonic is in his blood, and he played that game about 12 billion times before he made Megamix.
Right.
And so to him, it's like, oh, this is Sonic, but hard. And it makes sense. It makes sense why you would want a hard Sonic. But part of what makes Sonic fun is that it isn't the hardest platformer in the world. It is that sort of balance. Like it's not a cakewalk.
It's hard to play well, but it's easy to play.
Yes. That's a good way to describe it.
That's Sonic.
That's a great description.
Especially Sonic 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
And based on this discussion, I think probably the most I'm going to experience of this is if Jack puts it in the YouTube for this episode. But
it's in last week's. If you want to check it, if you want to watch me really struggle with some pretty simple boss
hard mode
fights.
stuff.
Right. As established, this video is using footage exclusively from Blues Brothers 2000 for the N64.
But yeah, I salute the fan creators. I salute the people who are out there making stuff, finishing stuff. Great job. I'm cheering from the sidelines, but I'm not getting into the arena.
Yeah, I'm with Bo on this one. Well said.
That's right. And because it was well said, that's why we've reached the end. Because what else is there to say? Except, of course, all the things we say at the end. For if the podcast just abruptly ended, you wouldn't know that it was over. You might think something went wrong. Maybe the Wi-Fi dropped. You're driving through a tunnel and you hear Bo, and then suddenly there's silence. And you don't know what's going on, and then you get to the other end of the tunnel, and now you're listening to a completely different podcast. You're listening to one of the big ones, or maybe one of the small ones.
That'll be the last episode of Sonic Weekly. It'll be just like the last episode of Sopranos, which is like a hard cut.
A hard cut, yeah.
And then nothing.
Oh man, that's a bit of a spoiler there. Now you told everyone
how our show's going to end. Well, still listen anyway.
Right, because it's not about the ending, it's about the journey. And if you want to experience
and
that...
don't stop believing with the... All right, I'm going on mute.
Oh, right. So all those highs... And if you want to hear all those highs and lows, and you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to this podcast using your podcatcher of choice, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or for the Android faithful, Podcast Addict. Give us a rating, give us a review. We appreciate it, and so does the magical algorithm. But if you reject all podcatchers, and I don't blame you if you do, we are also over on YouTube at Sonic-Weekly, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and our voices are joined as always by gameplay footage recorded by
Jack of all games.
Right.
Thank you, Jack.
There's Jack. Whoa.
We don't always get to say thank you to Jack.
That's right. Jack is back! Exclamation point. The YouTube channel is also where you can check out the Sonic Weekly shorts, little bite-sized morsels that you can just pop on or give to your friends, or, you know, it's like your morning vitamin. Why not? Yeah, they're shaped like Flintstone characters. Whoa! Want to reach out to the show? SonicWeeklyPodcast@gmail.com. That is our email address. Drop us a line. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. And it's the only way to get the link to our exclusive, the only way to our Discord server, where you can talk to some like-minded Sonic the Hedgehog fans about many things, up to and including Sonic T. Hedgehog. It's a fun time, and I guess Discord still exists for now. We'll see what happens there. If you're able to help out the show financially, we're also on Ko-fi. Just Sonic Weekly over there. Drop something into the tip jar for $5 a month. You can become one of our executive producers, just like PigDan, Pabsy, Sonikku, SavingThrows, Belgarion, Rat Liker 63, Dr. Hay PhD, Sertoo, and Butterbeerhawk. And as I am required by law to say, you're all exceptionally smart, talented, and we all think you're really keen. That helps offset the costs of hosting and production of this program. But if you're not able to do that, we just appreciate that you're listening. And hey, tell your buddies. They're all welcome. Oh yeah, and you can follow us on Blue Sky, I guess. We're Sonic Weekly there. Why not? You can retweet. There's no tweeting there. You can repost. When we make a show, when we post a show, yeah, whatever. Look, it's fine. Thank you once again to Brandon for joining us 2 weeks in a row. That's a double-decker of show. And yes, and once again...
Overthinking Movies. It's in the description.
Yes, go to Overthinking Movies. And if you want to see a crazy Sonic fan game, type in Keeping BZ on YouTube with Sonic Nebulous. It's a game that I played with a friend of mine that has Charmy the Bee with a rocket launcher, among other insane character designs. It was made in 2010. It's very edgy.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And once again, thank you, Jack, even though I already thanked you. So sorry. Gotta thank Altsynth.
Wow. You're going to take a thank you back. Who does that? Thank you. Never mind. That's like doing the handshake and then pulling it away kind of thing. It's still thank you. It can be multiple thank yous. One for the gameplay, one for the guesting.
One for the guesting. It's a double thank and the double decker. And
That's
right. But I do have to thank Altsynth for the edit and for doing the YouTube shorts. So that's a double decker of a thank you there. And because we still use it, of course, got to thank Smoovies for that Rings of Saturn jingle.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a single thank you, but that's okay.
You know who deserves a thank you as part of that too is the voice of the Rings of Saturn.
Yeah, I never do thank the voice, which that is just Chris, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was like, I think it's Chris, but if it's not Chris, then that's silly. So thank you, Chris. That's a double thank you for the single jingle.
Oh,
but all I know is that this has to be the end because I gotta thank Grant and Bo and Grant. Why? Well, to quote Miles Tales Brower, you're my mom, you're my dad, and you're my picket fence.
All swell it ends, right?